So just before I play this audio, I'm gonna have to say this. I don't usually say it, but if you get upset easily by things, then click off of this video, because the video I'm about to play and the videos after are a little bit distressing and a bit creepy. The reason that I want to talk about this is because I had a conversation with my sister-in-law, and it's a conversation I've had with multiple women. I might have even had it with you, but there's this idea that women want men to talk to other men to not do bad things, which is a ridiculous notion, because good men don't tend to hang around with bad men. They tend to hang around with other good men. Like, I hang around with your brother, and the people that we hang about are like us. We don't kidnap women. We don't abuse them. We don't do those crazy things to them. So I don't know who these guys are that I'm talking to. And also the guys that do this, I'm afraid of them as well. I don't want to be near them. They have the capacity to harm me as well. So I'm not interacting with these people. So what I was saying to her was that, yeah, it sucks that you can't really walk around in the dark. You can't walk through parks on your own. I don't walk through parks on my own. So I'm definitely not going to advise the fairer sex that it's safe for you to do that. And I'm not going to accept allowing her to walk through a park on her own or go to a shop on her own. I don't really care how she feels about that. I don't care if it's 1 out of 10 times that the abuser is there. The one time he's there and I'm not there, now I have to deal with the fact that you've been taken or you've come home abused or something bad has happened to you. So I don't really care that women have a problem with guys saying that we don't want you doing that, because we're only doing it to protect you. The one time it happens, that's enough. And then the guy that you're with, a family member, is going to snap. He's going to go and look for these people, and he's probably going to end up in prison because he's going to want to kill them. It's better to just be on the safe side than just roll the dice. That doesn't account for people that have to walk home from work because they work night shift. It doesn't account for like situations where you have to get home. But I always tell people, and especially women, you have to exercise some responsibility. If you don't drive and you're going to a friend's house, don't stay until 2 a.m. if you know you need to walk home. It's not safe to get in Ubers and Bolts at that time either. We know girls have been abducted in cabs before as well. It's very, very easy for a guy to just walk up to a girl, put his hands around her neck and drag her off. Not hard at all. So I found these videos on TikTok, and the reason I wanted to play them is because they're quite haunting, and it's just to give like people that have this idea like a reality check, because there's a lot of people that think that the world should be a certain way, and they deny reality. They deny the fact that the world is just unsafe. It's unsafe for men and women, and that there's crazy guys out there. That the women have the capacity to do crazy things as well, but the chances of you being harmed by a woman, unless she's armed, is very, very low. And the chances of her being out herself at 3 a.m. doing some weird shit in an alleyway is low. If I'm out very late at night, I almost exclusively see men. I don't really see very many women around. So I found these videos so that people can see just how weird shit can get. There's not too much context behind them outside of the fact that all of the people in them that are affected by this are women. So we'll play them and you give me your thoughts on them. This one in particular, the first one, is a little bit hard to listen to.
Okay.
One of the stories is that he's the boyfriend. He managed to get her out of the house and force her into the car. I don't know how he got into the house. The other one is that a car pulled up outside by this woman, and two guys jumped out and grabbed her and put her in the car. The second story is under the premise that she's walking home, and it's late at night, and there's not many people out. The road is lit, but no one's really paying attention. By the time people get out, I mean, the woman was just standing there looking. She wasn't really doing anything. There's not much she can do in that situation, but the neighbors were just looking on. Most people are not going to run to your aid. As much as you might scream, they're also going to be scared. Most people are not the fight kinds, they're the flight kinds. That girl, apparently, I don't think they found her, but those are the two stories that are going around right now. And that can happen just like that. You know, you can be walking down the road and a van just pulls up and grabs you, and that's it. You're gone. We'll never see you again. Is it really worth it just because you want the world to be a certain way?
Are you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you. Are you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you.
So who are you?
What? Yeah? Are you sure?
Who are you?
Hey, I just had a couple questions. I just wanted to ask you about the TV show. What I'm looking for is for the girl that's in the house to come out here because I'm going to make her in. Can you have her open the door?
Oh my God.
He openly admitted that that's what he wants to do to her. Now, the story around that one is apparently he had been stalking her as she'd been walking home. I don't know if any of these stories are 100% factual. We know that these guys are creeps and they're out there. But apparently he had been stalking her late at night and he tracked her back to her house. Now, luckily, she managed to get indoors before this guy actually even got there. But can you imagine? He openly said that. You have to be sick and twisted to admit that on a Ring doorbell camera for everyone to see.
Yeah, I think he was definitely not the full ticket because he just kept going, are you sure? Are you sure?
And that went on for
Are
a
you
while.
sure? And then when he even walked towards the end of the stairs, are you sure? It's like he was talking to himself.
Yeah, and these guys are roaming the streets late at night. Some of them are like heavily induced by drugs. Some of them are really down on their luck and they're looking to take out their anger on the world. And it's much, much easier to take your anger out on a woman because more often than not, she's not going to be Ronda Rousey. She is going to succumb to like your strength very easily.
In this footage, we see a deranged man do everything he can to break into this home. A mother and her son are at home alone. Scared for their safety, they lock themselves in the bathroom and call the police. As we can see, he successfully broke in using a piece of firewood to shatter the window. Luckily, he was not able to locate the mother and her son before police arrived, and nobody got harmed, apart from the lacerations he received by falling into the broken shards of glass.
Do you see why people are so reluctant to give up their guns in America? There's no way. There's absolutely no way that I would move to America and not buy a gun. And even over here, if I had the ability to obtain a gun license, I would. Because there's just too many crazy people out there. There's too many law-abiding citizens that have to just take this shit and the police take too long to get to their houses. And by that time, this person's had their way with them. Luckily, he never found the mother and the son. I will never support the idea of taking guns away from law-abiding citizens because there's too many guns in circulation on the black market. The black market has criminals operating it. They're not going to lose any of their guns. It's just going to be us that have our guns taken away from us. And that's not to say there shouldn't be stricter gun laws. That's not to say things might not need to be reformed. I don't know. But I would never, ever advocate to disarm myself when there's lunatics just roaming the roads and the justice system just lets people walk these days. Like,
Yeah.
It's crazy. But
And I think videos like this are important to spread awareness because a lot of people do have that ignorant mindset to it of, well, I should be able to walk the streets. Like people, like you're saying, people shouldn't just do this, but we don't live in that sort of realistic society. We never will. And you need to protect yourself and your well-being. So you need to be aware of what can happen and just be careful and take precautions.
yeah, I mean, I will continue. I don't care how many times it annoys the women in my life. I will always tell them that you either need to be escorted in certain areas. Don't get me wrong. If we were back in Cyprus is like I think it's the third or second most safe place in the world. If you want to go out late at night, I ain't going to say nothing. The chances of something happening are so low that it wouldn't really make sense for me to try to coddle you and walk everywhere with you. But if we're in Peckham and you say to me, Mike, I want to go down the road, I'm going to drive you up the road and we're going to walk up there together. Or we're just not going to go at all because why are you leaving the house at 3 a.m.? It's just irresponsible behavior and this idealistic notion that all men should stop doing these crazy things. They're just not going to. There's the yin and the yang, the good and the bad. Like, you can't stop all the crazy people out there. No matter how much education there is out there, there's always going to be a couple loose cannons. You just have to accept that fact, not go to dangerous areas with your girls when you want to go clubbing. Go to a safe area. Don't go to places that have high crime rates and expect for no one to touch you. Don't go to some place where you know that there's people that are roofing girls and putting things in their drinks and injecting people, and then wear a dress that's basically bra and knickers and then be surprised when all the wolves are looking over at you. it's just irresponsible. Like, take some accountability for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I wanted to say on it, really, because it was a discussion I had the other day, and it's a discussion I keep hearing women bring up, and I keep hearing them say, "Good men need to talk to men." You find me these men, we'll sit down in a room with them and have a discussion. Let's see how the discussion goes, because they're gonna look at me sideways too. They're gonna want to attack me too.